Security situation in Borno State, northeast Nigeria, is again getting attention in the media. A report says that over 250 persons were killed in the state in August alone. This is despite huge gains secured through the state government persuasion strategy that led to mass surrender of Boko Haram fighters to the Nigerian government. The development enhanced to resettlement of communities by the government as farmers commenced agricultural activities in the region. Gudumbali, the headquarters of Guzamala local government area of Borno State, is the area which inhabitants have not yet been resettled. Bamboa to BU local government area is another nightmare road network which many people are hopeful will be reopened by the government. Residents and community leaders are concerned that the increasing frequency of attacks are linked to some surrendered Boko Haram fighters returning and rejoining the terrorists. To better understand what the situation is in Borno State, we are joined by the State Commissioner of Information and Internal Security, Professor Usman. Prof, good to see you again. Thanks for giving us your time. This report of over 250 people being killed in the state in just 1 month is quite a concern against the backdrop of relative peace that's been said to have returned to the state. How true is this report, please?
Thank you for having me. The security situation in Borno State is stable. These attacks that are being reported, the numbers are not accurate. We are aware that some sporadic, isolated attacks by desperate remnants of the Boko Haram do take place in isolated places, and those attacks are existential. Basically, those marauders are looking for food and supply, and they are doing this in desperation. However, the real situation which the Borno State Security Council received on the 11th of October during the Security Council meeting from military and police commanders across the state is that the numbers of attacks are reducing, as well as the velocity of those attacks are also on the low side. So month to month, the attacks are reducing. And on the other hand, the mass defection of the insurgents is also is on the increase, which means that we are receiving more repentance, while invariably the number of attacks are reducing. That is the situation. So we vehemently disagree with those who claim that the attacks are on the rise.
But 250 is a high figure. If you disagree with the figure, what is the government putting forward then? And on what basis, on what evidence?
The figures are far less than that. 256, we don't know the source. There was a media house that reported that. We asked for the source, so we don't know the source. Our figures, classified figures, are far less than that.
All right. I would like to get your reaction to allegations that I read out in the bulletin that some Boko Haram fighters who surrendered to the military are returning back to the bush and rejoining the terrorist group. There are concerns that maybe the 30,000 naira stipend given to them by the government is too little.
This is not true. The repentant insurgents are properly processed. Those that are high risk, they are kept in detention. None of them was released. Those considered to be low risk are released under controlled circumstances. We are not aware of any released low risk repentant Boko Haram that has returned back to cause any mayhem. They are received by the communities. The communities came to the camp, received them with a celebration, and went back with those that are low risk. And so far, they are living peacefully in those communities. So we are not aware of that claim that there are those that go back and cause mayhem. The amount given to them is when they are within the camp, they are given upkeep allowance in addition to food items that are given to them. So if you take the gross that goes to each person is far more than 30,000 because it includes foods, medical consumables, and so on. So the amount given to them is just upkeep allowance for the church guard and for, maintenance. So the amount, by our estimation, is sufficient.
All right, let's talk about the possibility of the end of insurgency. What is your optimism level based on the work that the government is doing, that there would be an end to insurgency in the region and more development before or by the end of this current administration?
Yes, the government is committed to restoring peace in Borno before the end of this current administration. Our governor is committed to that. But we all know that insurgency all over the world is a very tricky affair. But it's a target that we are determined to achieve. The factors that we take into consideration, including the mass exit of the insurgents, and the ability and the acceptance of the communities, the victim communities, to receive them. If we take all these factors into consideration, the hope of the insurgency ending is very high. So far, we have received 140,000 defectors, but that number includes, captive civilians, farmers, those who carried arms. Within those 140 is about 5,000, and we have processed those ones. So we are talking about the insurgents being down by 5,000. But also don't forget that those who started the insurgency in 2009, 95% of them have died naturally or in combat. So those that are the remnants that are struggling are people who even don't have memory of the subject matter, and they are defecting in large numbers. So before this administration ends, we hope that everything will come to an end and peace will return back to our state.
I share in your optimism. We can only hope for the best while we work at it. Thank you very much, Prof, for giving us your time.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night.